So now we're going to sing a hymn from this bright red hymnal that's usually on the pew, right at the end of the pew. Hymn number 395, Take Time to Be Holy. Please be seated. Thank you. We're going to pray the new version of the Lord's Prayer, which is found on the card that should be in your pew. Does everybody have one? Okay, you need one? Okay, okay. All right, so the new version, let's join together. Creator, Redeemer, Sustainer, way, truth, and life, force of love and light, flowing within and all around us. May your realm of compassion, justice, and peace rule our world. Thank you for nurturing and guiding us, forgiving us and helping us forgive, and leading us away from harmful desires. Please save us from all forms of evil, for you are our source, our home, our power, all goodness and beauty forever. Amen. And now the choir will sing the anthem.
Shining sun that fills with sky.
And now it's with great pleasure that our dear friend and neighbor and loved one, Mel Gertz, will come up and talk about writing gleaned from a lifetime of spiritual seeking.
An old Indian woman in Alert Bay, British Columbia, told me the owl teaches us to get into the spirit world. There is no distance when you are in the spirit. But most of all, we celebrate that we're still alive. We're still here. Down below the Indian Center, mink were going in and out of the water. They come down to catch the fish, she said, and rest on the dark brown rocks by the bay. As I walked down the snowy dirt road late one wind-chilled afternoon, I asked myself, what is it that keeps us going? At that moment, I happened to glance up into a tree in the lower orchard and saw something I had never seen before. No more than 10 feet from me, snug by the trunk and mottled brown, sat a barred owl. The unexpected sight of that calm bird, eyes round and unblinking, filled me with a simple answer. It's all that changing beauty that keeps us going. Open the door slowly, at first a crack, and watch the light slip in. Open it a little more and watch the light expand. This is the soul beginning to receive God, the song of a bird, the leap of a fish, a raccoon in rain. This is the light of love. It feels good. Gradually you will sing. You will stop being afraid. You will open the door all the way, as wide as eternity, a dimension you never dreamed of. In 1977, my mother developed cancer. The doctors gave her 3 months to live. She refused treatment. She put her trust in God. She lived for 4 more years, a full life. I remember something happened between my mother and me, something intense. During her 4-year bout with cancer, she was lying on her side of the bed. I was standing by the bed, between the 2 beds. I leaned over to kiss her on the cheek, good night or goodbye, and we entered another dimension together. Intense, timeless, incredible. It felt like eternity. I don't know how long it lasted, and I don't remember the rest of the visit. I drove home to Tunbridge that day. But next morning, I rushed back down the highway to be with her again, to have that happen again. When I arrived, she was in the kitchen puttering. I don't think she expected me to come back next day. It was a 3-hour drive. When I walked into the kitchen, she said, "This is just an ordinary day." These poems and notes that I read are coming from a book that I wrote recently, which was called Spirit, streams of living water. And Joey read that book cover to cover and asked me if I'd read some pieces from it this morning. The peace of God. I had been in for a swim. As I sat down in a lawn chair to relax in the sun, I felt a quiet within me, at one with the still water, the leafy trees, the green meadow, the blue mountains. Purple aster. After weeding the roses, I paused to look at a wild aster glowing in the dusk. As I sat down on the porch, a peace filled through me, a stillness I hadn't known before. I wanted it to last forever. Here's a poem. Dawn, the light of the spirit world, brings us into our center. Until then, we were on the outer edge, or trudging through darkness, looking for a star or a moon. Now we can rest in stillness, heart full of thanks, where fern tips taste water and a hermit thrush sings. First Sunday in Lent, Tom asked the question, when were you anxious or afraid? And an inexplicable peace came over you. I paced the corridor of the hospital with a fear inside me. I lay in my hospital bed, restless, uncomfortable, not knowing how that fear would leave me. My doctor came to my bedside. She talked to me in a quiet way. I don't know what she said, but she stroked my arm as she was leaving. All at once, the fear was gone, and I lay peaceful in bed, watching raindrops slide down the window pane. When I got home from the hospital, I felt lonely. Herbert was off to work, and I was alone in the house. I took a book off the shelf, Poems by Hilda Conkling, a child poet, and started to read. I fell in love with her poems. I began to set them to music, to sing them with my guitar. Her spirit healed me, the spirit of a child. Now, I have a couple of poems here that she wrote, and if I get my courage up, I'll sing one of them. I'll read it first so you get the words. The world turns slowly, not to spill its lakes and rivers. The water is held in its arms, and the sky is held in the water. What is water that pours silver and can hold the sky? Hilda Conkling, age 5 to 6. And the other one is a poem that she wrote when she didn't write these poems, she spoke them to her mother. And this was when she was 9 to 12, she did this poem. I wanted you to hear it. Joy is not a thing you can see. It is what you feel when you watch waves breaking, or when you peer through a net of woven violet stems in spring grass. It is not sunlight, not moonlight, but a separate shining. Joy lives behind people's eyes. 9 to 12. And I found that whole book of poems, and it just cured me to read one after another and to sing them. It's either a year ago or 2 years ago, Anamika did a workshop, poetry and music. And she asked me if I'd sing a song or two. So, overcoming a hesitation to play my guitar and sing in public, I did. Did I sing that? I forgot to sing it. I did go to the 5 o'clock workshop and played and sang a few songs, including Yeats' The Lake Isle of Innisfree. I had said it. The guest soprano also sang The Lake Isle of Innisfree. Another version. Anamika was amazed at the coincidence. She said things like that had been happening all day. The 5 o'clock session was small, intimate, beautiful, a spiritual experience. I was glad that I was there. And I have a poem to read. This is what I like: the cool breeze and the buzz of bees, the humming of the little bird, the shower in the night. This is what I like: the wood nymphs playing in the woods, the morning cloak in the morning light. These things return me to myself. Anamika set that poem to music, and Becky sang it with her at one of the Friday night concerts. I wanted to make sure I had that in here. Something happened when I was leaving church a couple weeks ago. I got into the car and I had lost my sunglasses, and I have an eye problem. So I looked in my pockets and I looked in my pocketbook, and I couldn't find the glasses anywhere. And Herb came back into church and he searched all over the place for them and didn't find them. So I said a little prayer. Please, dear God, help me find my sunglasses. Well, we got into the car and we were driving home, and my eyes were shielded by my hat, and we drove into our driveway at home, and a car pulled in behind us. And it was Cameron. Cameron had found those sunglasses under our pew. So we had a big celebration. Hello. And when Cameron left, I said, "You did your good deed for the day." And she smiled, a big smile, clasped her hands, and smiled that big smile. And that was a wonderful celebration that we had. I have one more poem to read. I want to read a poem I gave to Herb on his birthday. I wasn't thinking of reading it, but I think I will. What a miracle. Poppies, it's titled Poppies. What a miracle. After all these years, poppies still blossoming in the orchard below the house. What a blessing. All these years together in such a beautiful place. Happy birthday, my love. Your 91st. Another dawn, another day. And I'm going to end with an owl poem. I started with an owl poem. It was the old woman who said, the owl teaches us to get into the spirit. And this is entitled The Owl. If we could be as patient as the owl, watching seed on snow and waiting, we would not throw away the music that lies inside us. We would wait for one tone from the spirit to draw us into the fullness, be it a poem or a song or the embrace of a friend. And I'm very thankful for the church and all you people here, because it keeps me going. And I thank you for coming this morning. I'm kind of anchored here.
Mel, thank you so much. And I had the privilege of watching everybody's faces as you spoke, and just the joy and the smiles and the love that came from everyone here to you. So, what can I say? Thank you so much. All right, so if you turn your bulletin over, please, we will say the 23rd Psalm together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So the next hymn is in that same bright red Methodist hymnal, number 400, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Please be seated. So now we're just going to take some quiet time for about 5 minutes, and we can remember. Thank you for reminding us about Ken and his struggles, and maybe just think about unspoken people that you love that are hurting or whatever. But let's just pray in silence, and I'll let you know. I'll say amen when time is done. many of you heard, we wouldn't have heard this if we'd been singing, but there's a beautiful bird out there chirping away, so it's a little sign of the presence of the Spirit. So during this time of seeking the Spirit, our benediction is from the book of Philippians in the New Testament, chapter 4, verse 8. And I think this goes along with the message that Mel was giving us today about what to think about. It says, "Finally, sisters and brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is gracious, and if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things."
just stuck. The piano is also humid, so you just have to give it a kick.